I'm joined now by Dave Zumwalt, who's the Chief Executive of WISPA here in the United States. It's the last day of the ISPAmerica conference, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time just reflecting on how the event's gone and where we're at with the industry. So, Dave, how do you think overall the event has been in this last few days?
So this is our mid-year event. We do two a year. The larger one is in Las Vegas in the fall. This one tends to be more technical. So we had more training at this one, more activities that would attract technical officers, things of that sort. So in that respect, this has been a great success for WISPA.
Yeah, if it has an intimate feel to it, which is great because it gives people the chance to network, and that's certainly something that I've heard about. This year, we've also changed the name of the event, so we've dropped something along the way. Tell us a bit about that.
So past is prologue because ISPAmerica is actually a brand that we've had for 10 or 11 years. And there was a show a long time ago that we did that we called ISPAmerica that became WISPAmerica. And as more and more of our members are deploying all technologies, including fixed wireless and fiber, we thought this would be a fun time to bring ISPAmerica back, and it's been well received.
Hybrid networks or combined networks, be it with wireless and fiber or whatever else. I mean, that is a strong theme, isn't it? How important is being hybrid or being able to embrace different technologies, do you think, to an operator in 2026?
Increasingly so. So our members are deploying, I think something like 45 to 50% of them have major fiber deployments. That's not necessarily to end users or to subscribers, but that's within their network to strengthen their backhaul or to create connectivity in unique situations where you have some density. It could be in a population center, it could be in a housing community, it could be in a campus environment. So all of the above is what they're doing, and they've become masters at hybrid technologies.
Yeah, I think the right solution for the right location is really what it's about. Yeah, that's cool. So the industry is changing as it always does. We're seeing now some further impact and success from state aid projects around. At some point in the coming years, we're going to get to a point where there is saturation, where the market is full, where everybody has a reasonable connection. What should operators be doing today to be ready for the moment when there is no more build, or maybe there is, but it's a different type of build?
There will always be build, but to your point, it's not going to be greenfield build where you're trying to reach individual locations that have never been connected. Here in the United States, we're very close to having every location that needs broadband having a broadband option. So to your point, it's really important to start thinking now about what are the over-the-top services, and some of them are services that you could think of off the bat. You could, for example, say telemedicine or security cameras or things of that sort, but those are important and those help provide additional revenue. We're always looking for how the connection itself is going to drive something economically in a community or for a service provider. So those are the things that are really important for service providers to be looking at now.
And in the conversations, the breakout groups and the panels over this last couple of days, are there any in particular that stand out as being the type of over-the-top services that we should be embracing now?
They are as varied as the locations. So you'll find, for example, in the United States, in certain states, they'll have priorities for statewide fire warning systems, as in California. And other places, there are going to be concerns about how do we make capacity available for data centers or internet exchange points that weren't there before. So there are unique needs in each state and each community that can be met. And that's what we're challenging our members to go look for and achieve.
Nearly everyone I've spoken to has mentioned AI at some point. AI, I believe, can have some great opportunities and create some great opportunities for improving service and so on. But it also has the risk of being guilty of creating slop, as it's known. What sort of areas do you think are good candidates to implement AI technology, and which areas should be avoided at all cost?
That's a great question, and we could take a lot of time talking about that. But for example, service providers are using AI now to automate workflows in their own back offices for provisioning services, for managing customer accounts, things of that sort, managing inventory. Those are really innovative and good uses of AI. But as AI comes into the network themselves, or each of the networks, it becomes more problematic because you have to be concerned about trusted relationships. Does AI have too much information? Does it have too much configuration control? And those are areas we're beginning to confront. We had a keynote address here specifically on zero trust in service provider networks. And so we're raising awareness within our own community of the things that have to be addressed. And I think we now have a community that is looking at that seriously. I don't have an answer for that. I want to be clear, so I'm not dancing around this. I'm saying that AI is being put to very good use in the back office, but as it gets into the network and you think about over-the-top services, there are major implications at work here, and we have to be very careful.
Yeah, I agree with the cautious approach, and also the focus around not AI in itself. It is a means to an end, and it's the end and the end user ultimately which really warrant the focus. So again, looking to the future, 10 years from now, the industry is going to be as different as it was 10 years looking back, and I find it always fun to look back and then try and project it by the same distance into the future. What sort of things do you think that operators should be considering to give them longevity, or if they don't like longevity, what other options are going to be open to them?
Again, this is a multifaceted sort of question and answer, but if we look in the United States, we've had individual, I'd say, communications technologies or thrusts that have been related to some major development in our history. So in rural telephony, for example, rural telephone companies needed support to get started. They've been focused specifically on what do rural telephone companies do now. Same thing for rural electrification. So you have rural electric companies doing this, and they bring 100-year histories forward trying to meet the future. In our case, we've come at this from a very innovative point of view. How do you get broadband services into rural communities? And so while those things sound separate, at this point, when you think about 5 years down the road, rural telephony, rural electric, and wireless ISPs are all going to be in the broadband business, and they're really there now. So when you look at the alignment that's occurring and the interest in broadband and begin to kind of fuse that, what we're really talking about here are what we would refer to as hometown ISPs, hometown service providers that are active in their communities, that are driving economic development, that are making differences. But at the end of the day, it's all broadband. So we have to be concerned about how do we make sure we have the right technology fit, that we have the right people who are in the room to be able to make decisions to move forward in capital investment, things of that sort that can make communities continue to thrive.
And regulatory framework as well to help support that. So this is the final day, the closing day on ISPAmerica. What sort of things went well? What sort of things would you like to improve the next time around?
So one of the things we do for our two shows is we have an active agenda committee, and those are meetings that many people are welcome to join, but the very active debates about where are we going to be when this show arrives? What are the topics that are going to be important to members and attendees? And it's always a bit of a guesswork because you're trying to lead the target in getting there. So in that respect, I believe that our agenda program for this show is very much on track. We still have to deal with reality that in the U.S. we are trying to sort out what the BEAD subsidy program is going to mean. We now have that's settled to a point to where there's enthusiasm that all technologies can be represented. If you'd asked me last year, this time, fixed wireless was kind of on the ropes. Now it's in the room, and we fought very hard for that. There are spectrum decisions being made by our regulator, the FCC, that have been friendly, at least so far, to us. So these are the sorts of things that kind of go into the planning for our shows, and in that respect we've had a lot to talk about. So I'm very optimistic about this blend of hybrid technologies and wireless being in the room. But there are always things we could do better, and our members are not hesitant to tell us about them.
That's good. Well, Dave, I hope you have a good rest after working so hard. I've seen you running around the place pretty much solid for the last few days. Congratulations on a successful event, and to the team as well around you. I know it's not just you, but everybody that I've spoken to has enjoyed it, and everybody's had a lot of value from it. So thank you and congratulations.
And thank you also for the work that you're doing. We very much appreciate our partnership with UK WISPA, and coming to understand what's happening in other areas from a regulatory perspective kind of informs some of the things that we see as priorities too. So thanks again so much.